What's happening, tabletop gamers? My name is LeunameGames. Welcome back to LeunameGames Unboxes. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Airship City by Masaki Suga and published by CMON and Analog Lunchbox. Let's have a look at the back of the game and see what this is about. Welcome to Airship City. Humanity dreamt of pure freedom by living in the sky. To make this fantasy a reality, we assembled an armada of airships to live among the billowing clouds. Thus, Airship City was born. However, creating a city is not easy. The sky lacks conveniences of land-based metropolises. As airship engineers, you must gather building materials to create new airships. They will provide a means of transportation for the populace, as well as vital public facilities for this breathtaking habitat in the heavens. In Airship City, become a high-flying engineer. Take to the skies in your own fleet of airships and collect resources from the different floating platforms. Then transport them to your floating workshops to create new public airships for the people of the city. Upon completion, these new ships can either be sold or donated. Selling a ship grants you money that can be used to upgrade your workshops and hire more workers, increasing your rate of production. Donating the ship will foster goodwill with the city's citizens. In the end, only one engineer will gain the admiration and respect of the people of Airship City. Will that be you? I have no idea. I don't know much about this game other than what I've just read, but I really like the concept of being an engineer building a city solely in the sky. Such a cool idea. So I'm really interested in knowing what this is going to be. So with all that said, let's have a look and see what does Airship City have to offer us. The game comes with 4 player boards, one for each player, obviously, and there are quite a few things you'll need to know. First off, there is a track on these boards for the 4 different resources that come with the game: wood, metal, gold, and gear, and they're actually divided into 2 halves because this half of the tracks are actually supposed to be covered. There are a set of renovation tiles that come with the game, a set of these for each player, and these are actually going to start the game on this half of the tracks to limit how many resources a player can have. There is a cost on these tiles to basically get rid of them, so you'll pay them and you'll remove them, and then on the back of each of these is a few symbols. You'll have a little victory point symbol. That's how many points you can get for this tile. It allows you to flip a basic tile over, which I'll get to later on, and it unlocks a crest that you'll have for the rest of the game, and that provides bonuses, which I'll also get to later. Also on each of these boards are these little sets here, and these are for bonus tiles. There is a set of bonus tiles that come with the game. Once again, 1 set of these for each player. They will also start out on the board, and they will have a certain set of requirements in order to complete. Now, just to be clear, these tiles don't actually start on the board. You place them on the board once you've completed their requirements. I'm just placing them on the board to show you where all they go. This side of the board is to store contracts. Specifically, up here is the contracts that you've completed. Down here are the contracts that you have failed. And here is basically the contract timeline, which basically is how much time do you have to complete your contracts. Each player also gets a set of ring tokens, and these are used to keep track of your resources. They also have a victory point track, which is this little disc here, and this little 20 point track, which is basically meant to just keep track of how many points you have if you've gone over 20. There's also a group of crew tokens that will be given to each of the players, and this is actually what you're going to be using to move around the world during the game. You'll simply just be taking these little crews and moving them to various spaces. And then each player gets 20 of what are known as donation markers. They're basically just plain tokens that have a little dot in the middle representing their color. I'll explain what these do later on. Going back to the contracts, there are a whole bunch of different contract tiles that come with the game, and each of these have a certain objective that you need to complete. For example, this one says to get 3 gear, this one says get 3 metal, this says get 4 wood, and if you manage to complete them, you will get the reward on this side, which is a point and a gold in this case, or you could get a point and a gold, or you could get a point and a gold. Oh, hold on a second. Or in the case of like this one here, you could get 3 points and 3 gold and various other forms. On each of these, there's also a backside here that I'm assuming this is really meant to just be decoration, because as far as I know, I can't see any benefit it would be to just have he's just sitting on their backsides, unless they're basically shown to be shown that you've completed them. There is this wheel token, which represents the first player marker. There are 16 different location tiles that come with the game, and these are where you're going to be taking your crew and moving them around to in order to take the various actions that are listed on those tiles. They also are double-sided. There is a basic side and then there's an advanced side. And really the only difference between the basic and the advanced is that each one of them has this little crest on them. And what this is that, if you may remember, the tiles here, or the renovation tiles, have a crest once you manage to unlock them. And if you were to go to a place that has the matching crest, then that means you will get a small little bonus when you get to stop there. And I'm glad to say the symbology on these little tiles here, very easy to see. Whether or not the actions on them will be easy to understand, that I can't be entirely certain. I guess we'll have to read the rulebook to find out. It looks like, hey, these are actually pretty certain and are pretty straightforward for the most part. This says to take a contract. I'm assuming this would get you 3 wood, this would get you some metal, and that would get you some gear, so on and so forth. And I can say with confidence, they are very easy to see, so you should not have any issues with reading them. Setting the locations aside for a minute, as well as the contracts, just to make it easier to have this sit, the game also comes with a market board, and there's some things you'll need to know about this. First of all, on this market board is actually where the score track is. That's this track here. That is where you take your score tokens to place them on, and that's how you keep track of your scores. There's also used to keep track of what round it is, and you will use this round marker to help you keep track of them. There is a track for various cargo ships that you can use throughout the game. Each of these has a track that shows the cost of how much you need in gold in order to use these cargo ships. And to help you keep track, the game comes with a brown token for each of the various tracks. And this little area down here is basically a contribution award. And this is basically meant to give you bonus points at the end of the game based on how well you do certain things. For example, I believe this symbol down here is depending on how many contracts you complete, since they had that matching symbol. And if you were to have to get the most contracts completed, you could get 2 points. If it's the second most, you would get 1 point. You could also get bonus points for being the best at constructing ships, and also for constructing special buildings, which I'll get to later. There's also a set of bonus tiles that come with the game, and these all have various bonuses that you can acquire, whether it's getting more gear or more gold. And each of these on the back of them show which round of the game that you can acquire these bonuses in. And finally, there is this board here, which I'm just going to call it the building board, or maybe the construction board, or whatever, because this is where you're basically going to do the majority of your building. There's a bunch of ships that you can build and some utility buildings that you can build, which actually will contribute to the construction part of the bonuses at the end of the game, which I had showed earlier. Each of these airships, as well as these buildings, have a cost in the left corner, and this is what you must pay in order to be able to construct them. When you do construct them, you take one of your little donation markers and place it in one of the squares on that various piece. Just to clarify, The darker ones here are only used in a 4-player game. Every single time you contribute to an airship, you will score the amount of points that are listed in the top right corner. The same thing goes when it comes to the utility buildings. You have the cost in the top left corner. If you build them, you'll place your donation marker in one of the spots, and you will gain the amount of points listed in the top right. In between the various ships, also, you'll see that there is a little arrow, and this is basically just to remind you that in order to build a level 2 passenger ship, you need to get the level 1 first. At least I believe that's what it is. And then lastly, there's these little bars in between the ships, and these are meant to be discounts. And I'm not entirely sure what these discounts mean, to be completely honest. I believe in this one, for example, would be for every metal that you use who's when dealing with or donating to this particular ship, you could pay one less, but that's just a guess. So that is everything you will get if you obtain Airship City. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to learn how to play Airship City, or if you want to know my thoughts on it, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more tutorials, reviews, and unboxings. Thank you all as always so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.